What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Bailey Kramer, and in this video, I'm going to be showing you exactly how to get insurance companies to book your property. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in. So first and foremost, what is this all about? So insurance companies partner with different temporary housing agencies to help homeowners find housing when their house gets damaged from a fire, flood, or any other natural disaster. This clientele can stay from anywhere from a month at a time to 2 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year plus. And the beautiful thing is that the rent is paid for and guaranteed by insurance companies. Let me walk you through a super easy example of how this works. Let's just say we have a family here, and unfortunately, they have a fire or flood at their house. So they call their insurance company, which could be State Farm, Geico, whoever insures houses, any company like that. They're going to call up. They're going to say, hey, we just had a fire at our house. We need somewhere to go. And the insurance company is going to say, okay, this is what we're going to do. The insurance company, they're going to say, hey, we work with this temporary housing agency called ALE Solutions. And I'm going to give you solid examples and everything later. But hey, this insurance company say, hey, family, we're going to pair you up with ALE Solutions, and they're going to find you a house to rent in the meantime while your house is being fixed. And the family's going to say, okay. Then the temporary housing agency is then going to say, hey, family, okay, you guys are three people, 5 people, you have 2 dogs, you're looking for this. Okay, we are going to help you, the temporary housing agency. We're going to help you find a house to rent for the next 3, 6 months, however long you need. So then what happens is this temporary housing agency looks out in the marketplace. I'm going to show you exactly where they look here in a second. I just want to break this down. But they're going to look on places like Airbnb, Furnish Finder, Zillow, and that's where they're going to find people like us, right? This is you, this is me, who have properties for these insurance companies to rent. So the temporary housing companies, they're going to contact us and say, hey, I have a family in need. Do you have a property available? Say, yes, I do. And then from there, the temporary housing agency is going to communicate with the family on our behalf. The temporary housing agency kind of plays like a middleman between us and the family. Sometimes, depending on the company, they'll let us communicate directly with the family. Sometimes they don't really let us. It just really depends. But nonetheless, the temporary housing agency will play the middleman in this whole process. So just to explain further, what happens now is once we tell this temporary housing agency, hey, we actually have a property available for this family, they're going to set up a time for the family to tour the property. Okay. Once the family likes it and they say, yep, this is good to go, then the temporary housing agency will be the one to handle the next steps with, hey, we need to get the leases prepared. We need to get the tax forms done. We need to get everything signed. The temporary housing agency will play the middleman. And again, I'm just giving you a quick intro. I will show you exactly how this all works here in a little bit as well. So let's talk about the pros and the cons to this entire insurance companies to book your property. Number one, they pay a premium. So their alternative is to put these families in a hotel, which is super costly, especially if it's a big family, and it's way less convenient. They can also stay for very long periods of times, which is good for us and a bummer for the family. But hey, if we can provide them a really good product, then it's a win-win. The cons are that getting these bookings is not very predictable because this only happens when a guest has an issue with their house, which is very unforeseen, like a fire, flood, or anything like that. Unfortunately, this does happen a lot, but is unpredictable of what is. And lastly, this clientele, they book very last minute because again, they're not preparing for something like this to happen. So they need a property available with very short notice. Okay, what property is ideal for an insurance company for this type of booking? I'll tell you straight up, the bigger the better, to be honest with you. If you can have at least 2 bathrooms and at least 3 bedrooms, that's great. Now, for me, I have a property that's 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, and I still got an insurance company booking. It's just not as ideal to have a 1 bathroom property than it is to have a 2 bathroom property. It's even better to have a 3 bedroom property and a 3 bathroom property. So with all that being said, if I had to put one standard to it, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms is best. But if you go a little bit bigger or you go 1 bathroom smaller, that's okay too. I personally wouldn't buy a property that's only 2 bedrooms specifically for insurance companies. Can get insurance bookings with just 2 bedrooms, but again, bigger the property, the more flexibility. All right, how to determine the best location for these types of properties? To be honest with you, any city can work, right? People have fires, floods, and whatever in their houses in every city. So there's not some magical city that you're going to all of a sudden get insurance bookings. This stuff happens everywhere. The most important piece of the whole puzzle is that your property is in a good, safe neighborhood that people want to rent it. I know it sounds silly, but it needs to be a place where families would be happy, would be safe, close to good schools are also a good plus. All right. Now, the best sites to list on to attract insurance companies. So, first off, we have Furnish Finder. This is primarily a platform for traveling medical professionals, and I have a full video talking about that. But what I will tell you is a lot of insurance companies will reach out through Furnish Finder, so I highly recommend you're on that. Number two, Airbnb. We've gotten plenty of bookings from insurance companies on Airbnb, so I highly recommend you're on that. Verbo. We haven't gotten many inquiries, but I still recommend. It only takes 10 minutes, 15 minutes to get your listing set up, so you might as well be on Verbo as well. Zillow is another place. I've actually heard that straight from someone working at one of the temporary housing agencies who told me they check Zillow. And then there's also a platform called Turbo Tenant where you can blast out your property to a bunch of different platforms like Realtor.com and other platforms that, again, it only takes a little bit of time, so you might as well be on them to expand your exposure. If you guys need specific help with any of these first couple platforms I mentioned, I have separate videos about this. You can find it on my channel. But I do want to talk about these next 4 companies because these are extremely specific to this insurance niche. So these companies are ALE Solutions, CRS Temporary Housing, TA Cares, and THD. All 4 of these companies are basically the exact same. They do the exact same. Sometimes they work slightly different and have slightly different procedures, but they all do the same things. In a nutshell, these 4 companies are temporary housing agencies. So if we go back to the diagram here, I'm talking about this person right here. So ALE Solutions, CRS Temporary Housing, they are the temporary housing agencies. They're the ones that the insurance companies are going to contact. They're going to contact the families, and then they're going to contact you and say, hey, we have a family that needs a property. Do you have anything available? Now, getting in contact with these companies is not rocket science. I'm going to show you how to do it. This is how the process works. First thing you got to do is register your property on their website. And what it'll do for you is leave a resource down below completely for free so that you can not only have the proper website to go to, but I always update that list too whenever I find new companies. So if you click the link below, you'll have the most updated version of the companies I use and register my properties on. So ALE Solutions, this was the first one on the list and kind of my favorite. I've had a lot of success with them. So this is the one I'll show you. What you'll do is you'll go to register property, register housing. And then if you scroll down, you're going to see landlord information. So essentially, all you're going to have to do to list with them is put in your information, your property's information, answer these questions about your property, and then just press submit. It literally takes a couple minutes. Very simple. Another thing that they have on their website is their email. So I'm going to get back to this here in a quick second, but just note that their email's on this website. But the process for registering on their website is super easy. What happens then, back to our diagram, is when an insurance company reaches out to them, to the temporary housing agency, and they find a family in need, the first place that the temporary housing agency will go typically is to the properties that are submitted to the website. Like I literally just showed you how to do for ALE Solutions. That's where they will look first. So if your property is on there, you're already one step ahead because the temporary housing agencies will reach out to you when they find a match for a family that needs your property. So once you submit your property to that website, and you'll do the exact same thing for CRS Temporary Housing, TA Cares, THD, and again, click the resource below. I'll give you the links straight to the websites, and I'll also update them whenever I get new companies I work with. And then you're going to basically sit back and wait. When there is a need, the company will either call or email you, like I mentioned. And then what you'll do is you'll set up a tour for them to come see the property. When I say them, I'm talking about the family to actually come see the property. And then what you'll do is prepare the lease and send it to the owner and the insurance company, which I'll get into in a little bit. So I mentioned sit back and relax, but I also highly recommend to stay proactive and to be proactive. So I recommend to email these insurance companies weekly or bi-weekly with the properties you have available. And I'm going to give you my script that I use. I'll also leave it down below in the description, again, completely for free. But before I go through the script, I want to mention quickly how you get the emails of the insurance companies, because this is really big. So the first thing to know is that emails and phone numbers are absolutely gold. So I mentioned that email that I found on the ALE Solutions website. That's an email that you can add to your list. Whenever someone reaches out to you on Furnish Finder from an insurance company and they have an email, add it to your list. Continue to add it to your list. And then what happens to really blow up your list is when you do these weekly emails, and I'll just pull mine up right now, but I'll skip to the end real quick of this email. What I like to do is I like to put a PS, feel free to forward this email to your colleagues, which I'll get into in a second. And then what happens is they forward my email to 10 of their coworkers, and then I grab all their emails. And then the next week I email all 10 of them. Then I email them out, and then they forward it to their coworkers. Then I grab those emails. Then I have 20 the next week. And that way I'm able to consistently and constantly expand my list. But nonetheless, going to the temporary housing script, this is the email that I use. Hey there, I wanted to reach out to see if you had anyone that needed housing. Below is a list of the cities where I have properties available. If you have any specific questions or know of anyone who needs temporary housing, please let me know and I'd be happy to send more details about the properties available. Then you can list the cities that your properties are in. And then you can just say, please let me know if you have any questions or know anyone in need. Best regards, Bailey. And then your name. And again, the PS, feel free to forward this email to any of your colleagues. PPS, if you're looking for a property in a different city, please let me know and I'd be happy to connect you with someone in my network who has a property available. I just want to be a resource for these people so I can help them and maybe they can help me down the line. So if I know somebody who has a property in a certain area, I can just send it their way. Okay, so we went through the script. We're good on that. I'll leave again that exact thing for you down below. The next biggest question is, Bailey, okay, how do I determine how much to charge, how much I can even get for rent from an insurance company? So I'll tell you this, there's no exact set number. You can't just look at a property like you would a long-term rental or even like a Section 8 property and say, oh, for a 2-bedroom property, I can get 1,000. It's not exactly like that. It's very case by case. I will tell you though, that on average, a general rule of thumb is they will typically pay slightly more than what a property is listed for on Furnish Finder. Okay. It's a very general rule of thumb, but it at least gets you in the right frame of mind. What I'll also tell you though, is the insurance companies don't have one exact set number. So what happens is, going back to our diagram here, the temporary housing agency will say, hey, how much are you charging for your property? You could say to them, hey, can you give me some guidance? Can you give me some ballpark? I have no idea. And then sometimes temporary housing agency, hey, we're looking at a couple other properties between 3,000 and 3,500. You could say, okay, 3,500. Sometimes though, the temporary housing agency says, I honestly don't even know. You have to throw me a number. But what happens is, let's just say you say, you know what? I want $3,500 per month. What then happens is this temporary housing agency goes to the insurance company and says, hey, we found a property. It's a great fit for this family. It's $3,500 a month. The insurance company has to either approve it or deny it. Okay. Or they can negotiate. So the insurance company can come back and say, we can really only do $3,200. And then the insurance company will tell that to the temporary housing agency. The temporary housing agency will come back to you and say, hey, $3,200 is the best they can do. Okay. But you don't want to be overly greedy, because if you say $15,000 a month for a small property or whatever, it's not worth $15,000 a month, they might just ignore you altogether if there's plenty of other options. So you want to be respectful. Don't just throw out $1 million. But that is how the process works. Another trick that I like to do is I like to look up available properties for that specific time period on Airbnb. Let's just say you get an inquiry from a insurance company and you're like, shoot, what do I charge? Or you're like, hey, I want to buy a property. I'm not even sure how much I could do an insurance rental for. So what you can do is go to Airbnb. All right, I figured it'd be easier if I just jumped in here and showed you. So if I went to Airbnb, and let's just say my city is South Bend, Indiana. Okay. I don't have properties there, but let's just say I did. So what I would do in this case is say, okay, if I was a family looking for a place to stay for 3 months because I had a fire or whatever the case may be, I'm going to look on here for my options. So today's the 19th. They are going to want to move in ASAP. But typically, again, it could take about a week or so. So let's just say I click on January 26th. And let's just say I need this place for 3 months. So I'll go here and I'll go to the 26th. Okay. And press on search. I'm going to see how many properties are available. Okay. And let me just do a little zoom. Again, you'll have to know, I don't know the exact neighborhoods in Notre Dame. I'm just throwing this out here, or in South Bend, but this is generally what I'm doing. Let me put on some filters and say, okay, I'm a family. I want an entire home. I want, let's just say 3 bedrooms, because again, that's what I like the best. Let's say 2 bathrooms. And let's say I want a house, not an apartment or that. Okay, show 127 homes. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in a little bit more to a specific area. I know this area a little bit, but not a ton. But okay, so from doing this, right, I see all these different properties: 3,600, 3,100, 2,800, 2,800, 3,900, 4,500, 5,700, 30,000. So it takes more time than just throwing out numbers and say, oh, this sounds about 4,000 per month. But what I would do is find which properties are most similar to mine. that had good reviews, that looked nice, similar furnishings, and take the average of the prices that they're charging, right? Like this one you can see is 11,000 per month. Don't get all excited and think that you can charge 11,000. Okay. High likelihood that you can for this 3-bedroom property in this area. If you're in California, New York, or some expensive market, sure, that's possible. But depending where you are, again, this one too, 15,000. Don't think, oh, they're charging 15,000, I can charge. No, they're not optimizing for a midterm stay. They're looking for a short-term stay. So you have to be realistic. Okay. You have to be reasonable here and find properties that are similar to yours. You can just tell generally by looking at this, we're looking in the $3,000 to $4,000 range approximately. Okay. Potentially though, keep this in mind. We're in January. This is probably the slow season for the city. Let's just say, since this is like a football town with Notre Dame nearby, let's just say we got a claim in August, right? And football season's right around the corner. And we did this exact same exercise. Okay, let's just see if this changes anything. Okay. Again, we're really far out, so this is not the best example ever. But as the inventory shrinks for the time of the year, so will your competition and the supply, which allows you to potentially charge a higher amount. So it is going to be dependent on the season too, but just to give you an idea to see the demand and get an average of what you can charge. All right, so how to determine demand for insurance companies? So I pretty much just showed you this exercise, put myself in someone's shoes that needed a property in a week because I had a fire in my house, whatever the case may be. And I looked for properties that are available for 3 months. Now, in some markets, there will be 0 properties available for that search on Airbnb. Those are the best markets to be in my opinion, because that means the supply is so low. Okay. The supply is super low. On the inverse, if you do that search and there's hundreds of properties available, it's going to be very hard to stand out and secure one of these bookings. So again, in my opinion, markets with fewer properties available when you do this whole 3-month search, the better opportunity to get an insurance company to book your property. All right, specific furnishing or amenity tips for insurance companies. Fences and yards are always great. A lot of people have dogs these days. Not mandatory, but it is a good touch. And I have a whole furnishing guide, a whole furnishing video section too. Make sure you watch that and you'll be good to go. Lease agreements for insurance companies. So you can use, again, TurboTenant, KeyCheck. You can have an attorney write up a lease or a property management company that write up a lease, but just know that you will be the one forming the lease and sending it over to either the insurance company or the tenant or both. In the signing platform, you can do it on DocuSign, PandaDocs, HelloSign, TurboTenant, or Go High Level, whatever signing platform you want to use, go for it. All right, now the process. So every insurance company works a little bit different. So most of them, 9 times out of 10, everyone I've worked with will send me a W-9 to fill out. That's pretty standard. As far as who signs the lease, whether the tenant signs them or the company will sign them, that's been kind of case by case for me. So don't feel bad about asking questions to this travel agency. Ask them questions. They're there to help you. And don't feel like you're going to be asking dumb questions to them. If you have questions about the process, they're going to explain it to you. They usually send a nice long email too, explaining all the steps. But if you have any questions, just ask them. They're typically very friendly from my experience. Okay, now collecting rent from insurance companies. So from my experience, they will typically send a check in the mail for the first month. And a lot of the times they just pay 2 months up front, which is super nice. And then they'll send a ACH transfer for the months after. So they pay monthly. The first month is usually a check for the first 2 months. And then on the third month, if they send the first 2, they'll skip a month. And then the third month, they will pay via ACH transfer. That's what I've seen. I've also had them just do an ACH transfer from day one. It really just depends. You can ask them if you want an ACH, if you want to check. I'm sure they can accommodate you, but you can just ask. Okay, now additional fees. So we have cleaning fees, pet fees, and security deposits. Those are all optional to charge. I do recommend charging for them. So the cleaning fee, whatever you get charged from your cleaner, I just recommend charging for that. Pet fee, if they have pets, you can charge a one-time pet fee. You could also charge an ongoing pet fee. That's up to you. Security deposit is also optional. Personally, I charge a small deposit for the insurance company bookings, typically a few $100, just depending on my property. But one of the most important things I want to mention, this is huge, is the insurance companies are the people who pay the rent. Okay. That's usually the big portion. But the families are the ones who have to pay the fees out of pocket. So the cleaning fee, pet fee, security deposit, the families pay that out of pocket. At least from the insurance companies I worked with, that's standard. Could it change? Could it be different for an insurance company? Potentially. You can just ask the company that you're working with. But nonetheless, I don't want the fees to turn away a family. Imagine a family is looking between two different properties. One of them's charging them $1,000 upfront in fees. One of them charging them $200 upfront in fees. If I'm the family, I'm probably picking the cheaper one. So I don't want to drown these people in fees. They're already going through a hard time. Don't make it any harder for them. Make it convenient, make it easy, and then it could be a win-win for everyone. So that is the wrap up of everything you need to know about getting insurance company bookings. I hope you guys got a ton of value out of this video. I have a ton more in this completely free course for you guys on my YouTube channel, so feel free to check it out. And if you got value from this video, I ask you for 2 easy, quick things. Number 1, and most importantly, if you know somebody who would get value out of this video, it's a completely free video and all the free resources I'm giving, go ahead and send it to them. That way you can help them get this knowledge. And number 2, if you're really feeling it, I would love for a thumbs up and for you to subscribe to my channel because I am releasing a lot of new videos and I don't want you to miss them. That's all I got, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.